a senior Hamas leader has allegedly been killed by an Israeli precision strike in Lebanon's Beirut on Tuesday. The incident has further strengthened fears of an all-out war between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group, the Hezbollah. The development comes amid escalating tensions in the Red Sea and the spiraling global support for Netanyahu's Gaza campaign. It also comes at a time when Turkey is cracking down on alleged Israeli spies. Saleh Al-Arouri, considered Hamas's number 2, was killed in a suspected Israeli strike in Beirut. He was also one of the founders of its military wing, the Qassam Brigade. Israel has not confirmed whether it was behind the blast. However, the country's military maintains it is prepared for any scenario as the focus turns towards an expected response.
אני רוצה לענות בצורה ברורה, כפי שאמרתי בהצהרה. אני לא מתייחס למה שנשמע כאן או במקומות אחרים. אנחנו ממוקדים בלחימה בחמאס, מתחילת הדרך, וכך נמשיך לעשות את זה. בעורף אנחנו מעדכנים את הציבור בהנחיות.
On the other hand, Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati has slammed Israel. He has called the strike a new Israeli crime and said it was an attempt to pull Lebanon into the war. The Hezbollah militant group is also on the edge. The group has said that the attack, quote unquote, will not go without a response or punishment, adding that the resistance has the finger on the trigger. Meanwhile, the West Bank is also on the boil over the killing of Arouri. A sea of protesters marched through Ramallah's streets while chanting, "O Jihad, O Qasim, revenge," as well. As the blame game is mounting, so are Israeli airstrikes within the Lebanese territory. On Tuesday, the Israeli army released videos it says show strikes on Hezbollah targets in the country. On the world stage, however, one of Netanyahu's staunchest allies, the French President Emmanuel Macron, has called on Israel to avoid escalation, particularly in Lebanon. The United Nations, too, has called the alleged Israeli strike that killed Hamas's number 2, quote unquote, extremely worrying.
We have been, just as you, have been following these recent developments, which just happened a few minutes ago. Obviously, the developments are extremely worrying.
Meanwhile, tensions also continue simmering in the Red Sea. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels fired 2 missiles late Tuesday towards the merchant ships. The British Maritime Security Agency, the UK MTO, released a report. This as global shipping firms continue to pause Red Sea shipments. In the latest, Denmark's Maersk and German rival Hapag-Lloyd have said their container ships would continue to avoid the Red Sea route. And amid the escalating threats from Iran-backed militant groups in Iraq, Syria and Yemen, the US has quietly reached an agreement with Qatar to keep operating its largest military base in the Middle East. The Al Quaid air base, located southwest of Doha, can house more than 10,000 American troops. Now, over in Turkey, security forces have arrested 34 people. They are alleged to have been involved in spying and planning abductions for Israel's Mossad intelligence agency. The mass arrests come after Erdogan warned Israel of serious consequences if it tried to hunt down Hamas militants in the country. And for more on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen has sent us this report from Israel.
There's been no official comments from Israel regarding the assassination of Hamas's deputy leader, Saleh Al-Arouri. But what do we know? We know that Arouri has been accused of orchestrating many terror attacks against Israelis. We know that in November, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that he'd instructed the Mossad security agency to target Hamas's leaders wherever they might be in response to Hamas's 7th of October massacre. And we know that the Israeli government believes that further military pressure on Hamas would ultimately drive it to accepting another deal on the release of the hostages still being held captive in Gaza. Now, Israeli government spokesperson Mark Regev said that whoever killed Arouri, this was a precision attack on Hamas, not on Lebanon and not on Hezbollah. Meanwhile, Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah is expected to give a speech in which he's likely to respond to this incident. In August, he had warned Israel against targeting Hamas leaders in Lebanon, suggesting if this happened, that Hezbollah would take revenge. This is Jodie Cohen for WION World as One.